The film opens with Benjamin Esposito, a retired federal agent, struggling to write a novel about a haunting case. Surrounded by scattered papers in a dimly lit room, he types, deletes, and starts again, clearly troubled by the memories. His gaze shifts to an old photo, revealing regret and sorrow etched on his face. The camera pans to a dusty case file labeled, Liliana Colato 1974. A brief flashback shows a montage of the crime scene, a modest apartment, overturned furniture, and a lifeless body, as Esposito's voice narrates his first encounter with the case. The story flashes back to 1974, introducing a younger Esposito as an active federal agent. He arrives at a crime scene in a modest Buenos Aires apartment, where tension fills the air. Inside the dimly lit apartment, chaos is evident, overturned furniture and shattered glass. Esposito's gaze lands on Liliana Colato's lifeless body, partially covered by a sheet. Examining the scene, he notices signs of a struggle and a haunting photograph of Liliana on the bedside table, realizing this is no ordinary crime. He then meets Ricardo Morales, Liliana's devastated husband, clutching a photo of his wife in shock and grief. Morales, barely able to speak, pleads with Esposito, "Promise me you'll find who did this." The encounter strikes a chord, fueling Esposito's determination to solve the case. The scene shifts to Esposito and his colleague Pablo Sandoval, days into the investigation and struggling for leads. In their dimly lit office, frustration mounts as they sift through witness statements and evidence. While reviewing photographs from Liliana's belongings, one image catches Esposito's eye, a candid shot of Liliana at a party. In the background, Isidoro Gomez stares intently at her. This unsettling expression sparks Esposito's suspicion. Digging into Gomez's background, they learn he was a quiet, unremarkable man infatuated with Liliana, often watching her from afar. Despite this lead, they still lack solid evidence. The scene ends with Esposito pinning Gomez's photo to the investigation board, surrounded by notes and connections. He turns to Sandoval, saying, "It's always the eyes. You can see everything in their eyes," encapsulating the film's theme and setting up the narrative's drive. Esposito and Sandoval intensify their search for Isidoro Gomez, scouring public records and tracking his last known locations. Their cluttered office reflects the growing urgency as each lead ends in frustration. Visiting bars, neighborhoods, and workplaces, they piece together a profile. Gomez was quiet but obsessed with Liliana. The search takes a turn when a drunken Sandoval has an epiphany: Gomez might be hiding at his mother's house in the countryside. Despite his skepticism, Esposito agrees, and they set out immediately. In a tense sequence, they arrive at the rural property, cautiously searching the area. Their hearts race, but the house is empty. Once again, Gomez has evaded capture, leaving Esposito in mounting frustration. The scene shifts to Esposito and his boss, Irene Menendez Hastings, in her office, where their unspoken connection becomes evident. As they discuss the case, a subtle chemistry simmers, with Irene challenging Esposito's theories, showcasing her intelligence and respect for his abilities. Their conversation is light but charged, with Esposito often holding his gaze on Irene a moment too long. She notices his disheveled state and offers him coffee, their hands almost touching, a brief, unspoken moment of intimacy. Returning to the case, Irene encourages him, saying, "You have to keep looking," reinforcing his determination. As Esposito leaves, he glances back, hinting at the silent yearning between them. The investigation gains momentum when Esposito and Sandoval receive a tip-off about Gomez's location. In a tense raid, they storm a rundown apartment, finally capturing Gomez. However, his calm and indifferent demeanor leaves Esposito uneasy. Back at the station, the interrogation begins. Irene watches as Esposito and Sandoval try to break Gomez, who remains silent and expressionless. Sensing the need for a change, Irene steps in. She uses psychological tactics, and for a moment, Gomez's facade cracks. Eventually, he confesses, but his coldness casts a shadow over the victory. Just as they think justice is served, political corruption intervenes. Gomez is released due to his connections to influential figures. Irene and Esposito are powerless, their protests ignored. Gomez leaves with a smug smile, taunting them. The scene ends with Esposito staring at the empty interrogation room, his sense of justice shattered, while Irene silently offers her support. This moment cements their bitter realization of a world where justice can be manipulated. The scene shifts to a tense atmosphere as Esposito faces pressure from corrupt officials to cover up the truth. After Gomez's release, Esposito and Sandoval realize they are being watched, their pursuit of justice putting them in danger. One evening, a slightly tipsy Sandoval joins Esposito at a bar and warns him to be cautious, sensing the brewing storm. Later, they return to Esposito's apartment to find it ransacked, a clear threat. Panic sets in, but Sandoval stays calm. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Sandoval hides Esposito in an alcove, whispering, "Stay quiet, no matter what." As armed men burst in, Sandoval plays the drunken fool, convincing them he's in the wrong place. The men, not recognizing him, drag Sandoval away. The next morning, Esposito learns that Sandoval has been killed. Devastated, he identifies his friend's body at the morgue. Overcome with grief and guilt, he realizes that Sandoval sacrificed himself to protect him, giving Esposito the chance to continue seeking justice. The scene shifts to the present day, with Esposito visiting Ricardo Morales at his remote farmhouse. As he drives through the countryside, he wonders if this visit will bring closure. On arrival, Morales, now older and weathered, greets him silently. They sit in tense silence until Esposito asks how Morales has coped all these years. Morales replies, "You never really move on, you just learn to live with it." As the conversation turns to Gomez, Morales's demeanor changes. Sensing something, Esposito presses further. In a shocking revelation, Morales admits he found Gomez years ago and has kept him imprisoned on his property. Stunned, Esposito follows Morales's gesture toward a small, windowless shed. Inside, he finds a ragged, broken Gomez in a makeshift cell. Horrified, Esposito turns to Morales, asking, "How could you do this?" Morales calmly replies, "I needed him to suffer as much as I did." The moment reveals the extent of Morales's quest for revenge, leaving Esposito conflicted and shaken. The film shifts to Esposito driving away from Morales's farmhouse, his mind racing. Morales's confession weighs heavily on him, filling him with emptiness and disillusionment. Years of pursuing justice have led to more questions about morality and the cost of revenge. Back in his dimly lit apartment, Esposito flips through the case file and glances at an old photo of Irene, reflecting on their unspoken connection and what he's lost. Seeking closure, he visits Irene at her office. She senses a change in him as he recounts his encounter with Morales and reveals Gomez's imprisonment. Irene listens in silence, her expression shifting from shock to understanding. The film closes with Esposito's narration, "Memories are all we have left when we lose everything else. It's what we do with those memories that defines us." The screen fades to black, leaving the audience to reflect on love, obsession, and the pursuit of justice. The Secret in Their Eyes is a haunting tale that masterfully intertwines themes of love, justice, obsession, and the burden of memory. The film leaves us with lingering questions: what is true justice? Can vengeance ever bring peace, or does it only deepen the wounds of loss? As Esposito comes to terms with the case and the choices he made, we are reminded that some truths may never be fully uncovered, and some wounds never entirely heal. The film's powerful narrative and unforgettable characters capture the audience, drawing us into the complexities of human emotions and moral dilemmas. It isn't just a story about solving a murder, it's a reflection on how the past shapes us and the lengths to which people will go to seek closure. With its intricate plot, compelling performances, and poignant exploration of life's harsh realities, The Secret in Their Eyes remains a cinematic masterpiece that resonates long after the credits roll. As the final scene fades to black, we are left contemplating our own understanding of justice and the secrets we carry within our eyes. Thanks for watching. If you like our work, please make to like, share and subscribe for more movie recaps.